It depends, Salty. I do, but it really depends on the type of product that you have and the type of tips that you're looking for, because there is plenty of things. If it's Japanese branding, as in it needs to look Japanese, but it will be for a non-Japanese audience, then it's different types of tips and recommendation to if it's a Japanese branding things for the Japanese audience. You have really two different crowd and two different branding styles. It's for a Japanese audience. It's a subscription box of goodies with handmade items from local brands and new organization. It can go to organic, to hygienic bottles, samples, and more. Is it something like, what's the name of that? Boxer. Thank you. That's the thing I was looking for. My brain was scanning the Anime Man ads. I'm guessing it is similar. Some of the tips that I have for Japanese audience is know that they have different types of reading system, and sometimes the vertical writing makes more sense. So depending on where you are on the box, you do not need to write things in a left to right manner like we are used to. Oh, Omiyage box. You know what? It's not. It's French, for fuck's sake. I think I've seen it. I think I've seen it on French people that lives in Japan. I am currently derailing the stream on my own. I don't know if it's exactly for Japanese audience, or maybe it's me being me and I didn't read your message properly. Let me just reread that. It's for Japanese audience. I don't know. It's very French in there. That's the thing. It already has a very dated design, which makes sense. And their boxes, if I'm not mistaken, it's just that. That is a very specific thing already. The branding currently has a very specific feel and connotation and all that. I don't know if the rebranding needs to be very different. That's what I'm trying to say, right? You have this, it's pretty simple to stay in the realm of handcrafted design, specifically with the, how is it called? The thing that they have on homes and above the doors in houses. I forgot, like that signage type of things. My bad. Because of what I know about that box already, or my assumption of the box, I don't, being mostly for the French population, I feel like it's more or less a box for French people interested in Japan, rather than a box of Omiyage, which means gift or gift that you bring back from a trip for Japanese people. Can be bought in Japan, I think. So I would say it's most likely for French people. Like writing in Japanese on the box might be a bit of a mistake. It really feels like it's gonna be sent to you in France, but not in Japan. The handcrafted type of thing, like this guy, which this book because it's great. Anyways, this guy, Florence, very French as well, has been illustrating Japanese island and shit for a while now. And this style of illustration could potentially match with the box, based on the fact that this is the current style, because the current style is really handcrafted, watercolor, all of that. Florent has a bit of a colored pencil. So that could be a thing that shifts a bit. One of the things that I'm seeing though on the box themselves that we were seeing on the previous page is the current state of the box is extremely limited. Like the thing that you receive in the mail, which apparently I can't see that on that page, but the thing that you receive in the mail is just a fucking cardboard box with nothing on it. There is a stamp on top and there is a stamp on the side because that's it. And there is a sticker on the side that will help make it recognizable. But this might be a limiting thing from the manufacturer of the box, right? So if the current client, if that's your client, has like limitation based on their provider of boxes, you need to know what you can do, because maybe you can only print in there in black and white, meaning that then there will be no options for watercolor type of illustration on the box. This is interesting, but I feel like it could gain, as Iro said, the box is forgettable. And if you bring a bit of color inside of what you receive in the mail, that could be really interesting. One of my other boxes that I'm thinking about is the latte box, which is also a very French box thing. Same concept. You receive a box with tea inside, and the box themselves are extremely colorful. And even though the theme is the thing that are inside is interesting, some people are collecting the boxes themselves because the boxes are fucking cute, which makes sense, right? You just keep the outside packaging, but right, going for some from the cardboard box to something like this could be really interesting and really beneficial for the branding of that Omiyage box. Braining, right? Seasonal packaging could be interesting as well. Way more work. Doesn't mean it's bad, but it's very expensive thing to do. The packaging in general, right, is expensive, and you need to make sure that the clients that you're working for or with is like okay with doing that, because spending more on packaging can 100% help you with your branding and with the discovery, specifically if you have the boxes in a convenience store. I know that Latte Box was also available in at some point for Christmas or something. I think they had a thing where it was on display, and you go on the aisle and you see the fucking box, and then you see that you can subscribe, and pretty interesting. Anyways, that branding is nice, and Abdel, you are right as well. It does look Moroccan. Some patterns, Moroccan, Japanese patterns, are like similar. That's a good question. 9 out of 10, I'm picking up the thing just because the box looks cool. The amount of time I picked up cans of drinks here, like beers or other drinking beverage, just because the can looks cool. And I would say 90% of the time for drinks, and then for candy or cakes or things, every fucking time. If the box is good, I'm buying the shit. I don't care. My bank account cares, but I don't care. Going back to what I was saying, maybe something that is a bit more colorful will help. I do understand that what is colorful is what is inside most of the time, so that makes sense. But if you have something that is potentially in store, then you need visual appeal. Boxes, the same thing. There is fucking 2Ks. The Boxer box is the same cardboard box, but it's just printed all over, and that is the same ID. It's the same concept, but the box is memorable and this and that. And you see how the design can be really minimalistic, but still scream Japan with the kanji right there, the stamp, the anko that is like the stamps of the company right here, and then these specific type of design which are currently associated with Japan, even though it's in my head more associated with coffee than Japan, but minimalistic and modern types of design. I do agree. Going back to my idea of keeping the current state of what is the illustration style that they have right here, which is currently really watercolory and friendly, could be really interesting with what they have. And then when you compare with the illustration that also are on the homepage right there, everything is like really friendly, detailed and colorful, all that. They have this one, which seems to be gift type of thing, which has like a wooden texture and a seal compared to the other ones that are just cardboards. Maybe they do have different boxes design, but still, in terms of rebranding everything, when I'm looking at the website, there is something that doesn't really work for me, and it's the icons. These icons are really big, heavy, whereas these right there are really small and tiny and subtle. There is something that doesn't work. You could go with something like this. This is kind of tech related, right? But if you had icons that are Japan related, like, I don't know, pack that's coming from someone has been building, I don't know, things that are Japan related, whatever. You could have things in there that could be interesting in terms of pattern, but then an icon skin or an icon pattern is really tech related. Like, I wouldn't associate that, even if it's just Japanese icons, with Japan. Debatable, but still, these icons just don't work for me. And then just make sure that they are not tied to that element. Like this illustration that they have everywhere is their current logo. They don't want to change the logo. Do that. Really look into that. Take a look at the illustrations, some of the things that have been created, maybe the texture that he has created. Not saying that just duplicate and copy whatever they did, but this is a pretty good resource in terms of IDs. I don't know how to explain that. It's just like, these are really cool. That could be a thing. Apparently, there is a YouTube video about it from 10 years ago. Holy shit. I mainly bought it because this book specifically has a map of the island. And that was pretty interesting. Take a look at that video as well. Maybe you can just be inspired. I don't know. Look at that shit. I know, or at least I remember that he did that book and then he was hired by McDonald's for some advertising here in Japan, which I think from time to time I'm still seeing things that looks like his style. And I don't know if it's still him or not. That could be interesting to get the branding over. It could be interesting. It could be interesting. It is memorable orange, red-ish box, whereas this one is not exactly memorable outside, but still, nonetheless, bringing some memories to that could be interesting. You have the paper texture that is also interesting to play with. The current theme that I'm seeing, right, there is this pattern at the top. I don't know if it was in the About Us, that thing that is currently prominent and really present. Same thing as here, that logo right there. But if you want to change it, that could be interesting. That's always my go-to. You can play with things and see things that are Japanese inspired. Sadly, the Pinterest thing will give you a cliche thing, but this and that, for example, are the three that I'm seeing. Straight up, you have that style of thin line, vertical text, even if English. This is the most bullshit thing that they could have done. This and this should have been written in traditional Japanese writing, which is vertical writing. That's when I know that the people that designed this are not Japanese at all. Not for a second. Like, you should just write things vertically. It's how it's supposed to be written. Anywho, that types of design, as I said, thin lines, black text is something that is prominent in the Japanese design cliche. These could work. This is more of a Ghost in the Shell temporary thing. In the middle, Pinterest could help you. You can go with something like this, which is a style I love. The overlay of color, like solid color on top of black, is a design choice that it can be achieved really easily, specifically in cardboard printed box, because you just have two layers of paint. You have a black one followed by a colored version. One, it can be red, it can be blue. I think most of the time Japanese association will bring you to red, but these styles are great. And you see the same pattern that they have with something that is more memorable. Could be interesting to follow as well. Really, as a stamp, the Japanese stamps could bring them something that is more Japanese feeling, these things. But it really depends on the client. That will always be, last thing that I say, it will always be how the clients feel about that proposition of design. I kind of love that. It's a simple thing, but is that if it's a French thing, you can also play with the French-Japanese mix of shit. But instead of having like a Japanese flag, you could have a French flag in the middle. Instead of having some chopsticks, which are called baguette in French, you could have baguettes, as in French bread baguette instead. Like the one that we had a second ago, this one, instead of having two chopsticks in the middle, you just have a print of a tradition, very French bread in the middle. I don't know. It could be fun. And that's a memorable thing that could just bring people to say, oh shit, it's a Japanese-French fusion box thingy. Just throwing out IDs. Pinterest will help you to have some IDs. I still feel like a minimal-ish would help. It would work for me, but it wouldn't work for 90% of the target audience. Work for me though. Nonetheless, that being said, if you write things in Japanese in your design, for the love of Japanese language, put it in vertical writing if it's small enough and it's like decorative elements. Do that. Make sure that it's written vertically. And if possible, make use of all of the sides of the box, if that's the thing that you're working with directly. Like, it would be a shame to have a box that is just recognizable from the top, but then when you open it, it's just a fucking cardboard box. This company's gamer energy thing, when you receive the box, you get, I don't know what that is, but whatever. I saw the box in the ads. I wish I could go faster on there. The box that you receive in the mail is this, which, as you can see, the box from the outside is meh. It's a cardboard box. But the box from the inside, they have printed inside, which I feel like is something that no one does, and it's imprinted in my brain. And they have this. They also have a lot of things that are Twitch related, because they are like gamer type of company, and they have a lot of Kappa emotes or PogChamp emotes inside of their material in there. And if I remember correctly, I wish that would be, no, it's not. They have a thing on the flap that you are opening that is just saying something like, other than looking amazing, what else do you do, or something like, it's just good. I wish we saw it right there. They have a bit of a, other than being sexy, what do you do for a living? Really? That's a thing that you remember. At least I do. You could, all that to say, you could implement something that is similar and maybe get some smiles out of the packaging. It was a lot of rambling. I just hope that helps and that makes sense. And that France is the biggest manga import country. That's pretty interesting. I don't know if it would be relevant for that box specifically, because the Omiyage box being like small treats that you can bring back from a trip, that might not be the same. That sort of packaging could be interesting. As I said, I'm a real fan of the red on black imprint that is really associated with Japan. You could go with calligraphy, illustrations type. We've seen that a second ago. Like these, like brush strokes things, but still in color. If that's an option for the print, that could be great. Just know that some of these things are already associated with really different level of expectation and prices. If I'm receiving something with that design, I know it's Japanese design, it's minimalistic, but still I'm expecting to pay a very specific amount of money for a night in that hotel. When I'm seeing these, it's a different type of branding, it's a different type of prices as well. You don't want to have the packaging being a deterrent in the head of the person that is looking at the box or the websites, because if I'm arriving on something, the price isn't really disclosed right away, and I'm seeing the design having a feel of luxury, then someone might not even go and check the prices. It needs to be affordable-ish, because their boxes are affordable-ish. They're still more expensive than if I bought everything here, because I'm here. Nonetheless, you need to think about everything. Really, just Pinterest is great. Pinterest is great. Behance is great as well. I know that Behance will have a lot more complete branding things, right? And you will probably find things the same category of exactly that, as I was about to say. Like, it's fun, but still it remains Japan oriented in terms of illustration and styles. It keeps that fun stuff. This is way too vectorized for me to be associated with Omiyage books. But same style, but in same content, but is in a watercolor version, could be really cool. And Behance will 100% give you IDs as well. Take a look at that. Pinterest, Behance, all that, all good, all the time. Something like this is what I had in mind with the color imprint. That works. It's simple, but it's still a very me thing to say. It is at the limit, just under luxury. And the reason for that is the strokes of the waves are too thick to be luxurious. It's like, if I'm speaking in designer terms, the strokes are like 16 points in terms of thickness, and if it was 4 points, it would be luxurious, but it's not. Just that small detail makes it affordable, but still you expect a price that is not the cheapest option. With that, it's pretty nice. I just stop and you stop scrolling. That's fun as well. The kampai on this thumbnail was fun. The rest, this one is really cool. Rest, I don't know.